Podcastalypse now is back. We have our buddy George wanted to come on and say a few things about the specific topic that we are talking about this evening, but it is 6:30. You're tuning in to Three Geeks Podcast channel. This is Podcastalypse Now, where we talk about things that we wouldn't talk about on Three Geeks. Sometimes we get political. Sometimes we talk about people slapping somebody. Sometimes we talk about taking shit. You never know.
Sometimes we talk about that fucking hat you're wearing.
Yeah, I figured the world's gone insane today, so I'd put this hat on so I can join the rest of the party.
All right. How's it going, dude? Welcome back.
I know, man. And before I get George on here, I just want to take a second. This is awesome. We're back. Max and I are going to start doing this. I think we decided bi-weekly, so every other week you're going to see our two faces talking about what's happening in the world. Sometimes, like I said, we'll get political. Sometimes we'll talk about going to the bathroom. You never know what you're going to get with this crew, but yeah, we're back.
It's suburban woes. There's a lot of different things we can touch on here, but this is a special Oscar Podcastalypse just because. Hey George, how's it going, dude?
What's up, Max?
Welcome to the Podcastalypse. It is real.
Yes. Last night, so I was on George's show with Dan and Justin, and we were talking top 10 villains, having a good time. I get off of that podcast, and I check Facebook. I'm like, what the hell just happened? Will Smith. I'm like, it's staged. It's got to be staged. One, if it's staged, the Academy Awards better fucking say something soon because this has gone out of control. So,
it's not staged. There's no fucking way.
No, not at this point. They would have had to have said something by now. Yeah. But first off, if you go to a comedy club, you go to any theater situation, and you walk up stage and slap somebody, you're asked to leave. You can't even talk to the person on stage before you're asked to leave. One. Two, I'm a big Will Smith fan. I've been a Will Smith fan since 1988, since Fresh Prince of Bel-Air aired. I love his albums. I love his music. I love the movies he makes. I even liked Collateral Beauty. Yes, I'm the one person in the world that liked that movie. I love Chris Rock. I've seen Chris. That's the one with Edward Norton. They play Ghost or whatever. I'm a fan of Chris Rock. I've seen Chris Rock live 3 times. So I don't have as people, I like both of these guys. I love their work and everything else. And Will Smith was laughing at the joke. So this is what I think happened. And I'm going to get your guys' opinion. Because as somebody who's been married twice and divorced, obviously I have a little thing about not keeping wives happy. So, he hears Chris Rock, who is a comedian. And I am a big, firm believer in freedom of speech, especially with comedians. They're allowed to make jokes. You don't like the joke, leave the room if you're not a fan of that comedy. Don't laugh at everybody else getting the jokes made about them. And then when it suddenly becomes your turn to be made fun of, you've got crack an issue. But anyway, this is what I think happened. I'm going to let you guys chime in on the whole evening. Will Smith was laughing. He thought the joke was funny. He's got a sick sense of humor. Ah, ha, ha. That's great. I love it. Chris Rock. I love Chris Rock. He looks over at Jada, and she gives him the look like, oh, dude, you're in trouble. You're sleeping on the couch. You're going to sleep out in the garage. So Will, feeling embarrassed about himself, reacted because I think he was more upset with pissing off his wife than he was with Chris Rock because that's not fake laughter, everybody. I know people are trying to spin it as fake laughter. That's real laughter. He's laughing at the joke. Jada's reaction to the joke is fake laughter. But what did you guys think of this crazy freaking event?
Okay, so regardless of if he's fake laughing, oh ha ha ha, she's got a disease, and he's all butthurt about it, then his actions are completely unwarranted. And also, where was Jada? Will, get the fuck down here, get off the stage. What are you doing?
People were saying, can't a man defend his wife? Why can't we stick up
for
black women?
If his wife was under attack, I would understand defending his wife. Now, if Chris Rock had jumped off the stage and started just slapping the shit out of Jada Pinkett, I would understand Will Smith doing what he did. But that didn't happen. He made one joke, and didn't even linger. He made one joke and kept it going. And then Will Smith's like, I'm just gonna walk up here, casual, cool, Big Willie style, slap Chris Rock, just completely sucker punch Chris Rock, and then walk off the stage and keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth. Like, did she sleep with Chris Rock?
Well, they do have an open marriage, so I mean, anything's
I'm
possible, I
like,
guess.
did she sleep with Chris Rock? That's the only thing that I can think of that would make this like even make a tiny bit of sense.
Yeah, but see, what's
I
crazy
think she
is,
had to say something. She had to have said something. And all of a sudden, Will went from laughing to
But-
not laughing, and the time frame matches up where she could have literally just sit there and looked right at him as he turned to look at her. They flipped cameras showing Chris again. The timing would be just her even just saying, seriously?
you're just
Really?
gonna sit there. You're just gonna sit
And
there.
exactly. And that's when he got up.
Yes, I'm
went
just
up
going
and-
to sit here. We're at the fucking Oscars. Do you see the tuxedo I'm wearing? Like what the fuck? Like,
One, I don't think they should take his award away. But what they should have done, if they weren't going to ask him to leave, which I think that might have been a little excessive. They should have at least taken Will backstage.
He should have been arrested because he assaulted somebody. When you fucking assault somebody, you can get arrested. That's what should have happened. They should have carted his ass off to like what the fuck? I mean, Kanye West didn't even do that.
I mean, it's like literally, it's like, oh, how many witnesses? How many people watched the Oscars last night? 2.7 million, right?
I mean, well, no, what's
and
funny
then now
is,
it's all over social media, so you've got it. It's on camera. It's out there.
They didn't show it in America. They used the titty cam cut, like, hey, we're not going to show you this, and we didn't see it in America, which I think is hilarious. I never watched the Oscars, so like this is all news to me when I woke up this morning. But I was like, holy shit, for the first time in 30 years, I'm like sad that I didn't watch the Oscars.
Guilty. I know, 'cause usually I'll watch it too. And the funny thing is as we were done with the show last night, I went upset and Kelly was nodding on and off and she missed it. And after hearing it today, I had to go get her and say, hey, did you see this? I'm surprised you didn't tell me about it. And she said, no, I must have dozed off. I'm like, yeah, you missed something huge.
No, in America, it was like they did a little bit of the Chris Rock thing, and then they go to commercial, and freaking Amy Schumer comes back talking like, "Oh, doesn't it get crazy at the Oscars?" And because I got this from my parents who watched the whole thing, and they're like, "Okay, sure, I guess it gets crazy at the Oscars, whatever." Like, had no idea what was going on the whole time. So like, and then Will Smith's like, "Oh, hopefully the Academy has me back," and they're like, "What the fuck is he crying for? Like, what's going on?" And love makes you do crazy things. And they're like, "What? Like acting King Richard? Did love make you do that?" Like, there's no context for the Americans. I think it's just freaking hilarious. Yeah, you have to go watch the freaking clip on any one of a number of social media outlets to find out what really happened.
That's crazy. And one, I want to commend Chris Rock. It's like he handled it like.
No, I'm not commending Chris Rock. I wish Chris Rock would have punched that dude in his stupid face. Like, Will Smith, don't. This is my thing. Like, people's words should not make you put your hands on people. Like there's no reason for you to physically assault somebody over their words.
But what's so wrong with G.I. Jane? Like, what's wrong with being compared to G.I. Jane? She was a badass.
Yeah, like the one woman badass enough to be a Navy SEAL. No, that's a total insult.
And Jada wears her hair short all the time. So like
us
normal people, we wouldn't have thought anything was wrong. No, Jada Pinkett without hair. We've seen it before.
You know, but she's been, rocking this look for a little bit now. It's no big deal. And when you're trying to normalize something, you got to get people to be comfortable with something, what do? Maybe tell a joke? I don't know. Fucking, I'm just like, I wish Chris Rock would have been like, no, motherfucker. I've been like boxing or some shit for the last like 5 months and just lit Will Smith up. Like, don't come over here and try to slap me over this bullshit because you look stupid in front of your fucking wife. That's your fucking problem. Like, what are you doing?
He tried to inject himself in the conversation and said that Will and Chris talked afterwards. According to Chris Rock's rep, Chris Rock left immediately after that situation. He just walked out the back door after he got his stuff and left. So there has been no communication between the two of them at all. Nothing's worked out, and
And then Will Smith's gonna go through his whole thing without actually apologizing to Chris Rock. Like,
and his speech was
no
about
class.
love,
Like,
right?
I had a lot of respect for Will Smith. I lost a lot of respect for Will Smith after this, and then like I'm not talking about like, oh, his rapping is pretty like watered down or whatever. Like, he doesn't like to cuss and but this whole like family image that he's trying to portray this whole time is completely thrown out the window with this. Just because, I mean, like, not only did you run up and assault somebody for no fucking reason, but then you sat there and like cussed at him.
Yeah.
And made yourself look like even more of an ass. Like, was he fucking drunk? Like, what? I expect drunk people to act like this. I've been around enough drunk Marines to know, like, okay, watch out for that one. He gets drunk and then you can't say nothing to him. What happened?
Not everybody's arguments are back and forth on this is so ridiculous because the point is he hit Chris Rock, and that's the end of the conversation. That happened over a joke, and that is where the attention should be. If you're not a fan of Chris Rock's, there's an easy problem. Fix that. Hit mute. Everybody in that room knew Chris Rock was going to be there, so you all sign a contract. Just an
social contract.
Social contract that you're there, and this guy's going to come out, so you can leave. Go to another room, do whatever. I'm sure they got bathrooms. Go hang out in the bathroom or whatever. But you can't be laughing at somebody and then suddenly the joke turns on you, which wasn't even one. It was a funny joke, but two, like I said,
really.
G.I. Jane is not something. It's not like a slander. Like that's a compliment as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. I mean, like if he had made some comment like, "Oh, your wife's a slut," or whatever, like. I can sort of start to get my head around this, but yeah, it's like, hey, I'll see you in G.I. Jane 2, bald head, like, I didn't think the joke was funny, I thought it was like a pretty mediocre joke, and which you expect from the Oscars, and I'm like, how did this fucking like B joke cause all of it?
Mid-level joke, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, it's totally right.
How does Chris Rock's show cause controversy? I used to watch the Oscars. This was the year I decided I was done watching the Oscars.
Oh, let's see. Like, aren't you pissed?
Like, no, I watched it on YouTube, and this whole situation has me so angry because people are attacking Chris Rock about comedy and so forth. But you guys got through Ricky Gervais, who took much cheaper shots at everybody. And this is the one that you want to stand and like get all pissy about? Like, come on. This isn't about race. I see people throwing that out there too. This isn't about race.
How is this about race?
Mark Henry, one of the more famous wrestlers, even turned around and said that he the wrestling community going into the sports side of it. They are all about this little ordeal, and all of a sudden, Mark Henry says, "You know what? Tell him, come on over to AEW and let's do something."
And they're doing that. He's too skinny to wrestle anybody. But
it was like, well, that would provoke something interesting.
I would like to see Will Smith get tossed around in a wrestling ring by a fucking 400-pound dude. That would be hilarious.
And then this situation also got compared to Trump. You cannot compare a stand-up comedian to a president of the United States. One, a president of the United States should be held to a higher standard about the way he talks to people. And granted, I believe in Trump's freedom of speech. I believe that he gets to say whatever he feels like he should say. But when you're in that power, you can expect consequences. Chris Rock is a comedian. It's his job to crack jokes.
I wish somebody would walk up on stage and slap Donald Trump. I wish that would have happened at some point in time.
Well, right now, the big thing that everybody else was talking about is, now all of these stand-up comedians are going to be sitting there looking, going, all right, they're going to have their head on a swivel.
Because the Oscars announced that they're going to review the situation. It's too late, guys. It's too late.
So there's like zero security at the Oscars. There was zero because like Will Smith just walks up there, and like you figure after Kanye West, you'd figure they wouldn't make it so easy to just to just walk on stage and do things that aren't part of the show. Like, I mean, like I know they went as far as to not invite Kanye West, but I like you figure they're like, oh hey, at any point in time, somebody could lose their damn mind and run up on stage and do something stupid. Maybe we should prevent this from happening. I don't understand how this went down. Why did you let Will Smith walk on that stage?
Well, that's just the other thing too. Is okay. Was it a shoot? Was it a setup? But then you could tell by Chris's reaction, you knew it wasn't set up.
And this is dumb. Like it didn't make because like all of us are talking about watching it after. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, okay. In America, they didn't even show it. So if this was a setup to get ratings or something like that,
it would have been.
They didn't do anything to make more people watch the Oscars right then. Like, and if anything, YouTube got a bump from this, and not the Oscars. Like, what is the end goal here? I just like that seems so dumb to me, and like, why would they go along with it? I mean, like, hey, like, I'm all down for like publicity stunts if you want to do something. But if I'm Chris Rock and I'm Will Smith and I'm reading my lines in this publicity stunt, I'm like, so then he says a G.I. Jane joke, and I'm supposed to be so angry at this that I slap him in the face. No, can you insult my mother or something? Like, can we get something real here?
Like, oh, this just in: Will Smith's mom is sending him to live in Bel Air with his aunt and uncle.
Yep.
Yeah, well,
heard
that joke all day.
Oh, dude, I love the memes. They've all made. I'll get sick of it like Bernie, but for right now, they have me.
Oh my goodness, the meme, like when your roommate eats the last slice of pizza.
No, they've done the Cleveland Browns and the Browns fans. Oh yeah, there have been a lot of heavy sports ones set up. Tom Brady and Bill Belichick.
Yep. Oh my goodness.
There have been a ton of them all day long.
It's good. I mean, like, I'm happy to have something to meme at, but like, this whole thing is so fucking stupid. I was just impressed, because like I thought Will Smith was a better dude than like just like overall I thought he was a better person than this than like I mean, like I feel like did they change his medication or something? Like I just don't understand how even with the like you're just gonna sit here while he says that about me. Like if Jada shot him one of those looks. Even like
he had to have said something that instigated him to get up on stage.
Oh, but like, what do you want me to do? We're at the fucking Oscars. Like I'm gonna win Best Actor in like 10 minutes. Like what do you want me to do? Like, oh my god, I just cannot even believe. I hope Will Smith never gets to go back to the Oscars. I would never ever let him come back.
I was going to say, you can't.
No, it's
you don't know what he. I mean, drunken state or not drunken state. You can't. What happened cannot happen again.
You know what? Yeah, I would agree with you, but the fact that the Oscars have let people like Roman Polanski continue to win awards or be nominated for awards. They can't push against Will if they're not going to push against.
No, but did Roman Polanski ever at the Oscars fucking walk on stage and slap somebody in the face and assault somebody?
It's assault and battery.
No, never. This is never. I've never heard of anything like this happening before. I mean, again, like the closest thing I can think of is Kanye West, and all he did was snatch the mic. And he's never invited back to anything. I mean, again, within reason, I would never invite Kanye West to my awards show. You don't know if he's going to run up on stage and snatch the mic. You can't have that. I would never. No, I don't even care if Will Smith acted like one Best Actor for the next fucking 35 years running. I would never let him be on stage again. Not once ever. I wouldn't even let him. I wouldn't even do a video. I'm not putting my cameraman in the fucking danger of Will Smith might come and try to smack him in the face.
I don't disagree.
Like Roman Polanski's been accused of several things, and post that they have
Okay,
nominated
I
him.
understand. Like, but all of this is outside of the actual fucking Oscars. Like, Roman Polanski, terrible person. I'm not condoning any fucking actions of these people, but like, it's not your show on your night where like this is supposed to be a celebration of all the things. And he if they caught Roman Polanski raping some chick backstage at the Oscars, they're like, oh, like that would be one thing, but like no, at least he can keep in his pants for the fucking Oscars. Give me a break.
Chris Rock handled it with class. I think he did the best he could with that situation. He managed to still smile and walk off stage and leave the building and go to a party. But the biggest person at fault in all of this is the way the Oscars handled it, because they didn't handle it. They should
Will Smith is the biggest person at fault because like nobody else walked up on stage and slapped anybody.
That's
but,
fair.
I mean, obviously,
but the Oscars handled this poorly. At the very least, they should have taken Will backstage and talked to him and Chris Rock about the situation. They didn't even do that, and that's crazy to me.
Absolutely. I don't understand how he was allowed to accept his award. I don't understand how he was allowed to stay in the building. I just I don't see how they didn't escort him out right then and there. And I mean, like, you can do it, you know, like, you don't have to make it public. It's like, Mr. Smith, please come with us. And you know, like, you just, you know, you go to commercial and you come back and you got somebody else sitting there fucking
yeah.
I just don't get it.
That was very weird.
But I mean, like, it wasn't even an insult, Jesse. I'm sorry, but I don't understand how you come out of this insulted. Like, oh yes, I also have a bald head like G.I. Jane. Like, she's a badass. Like, what do you? What the fuck do you want?
That's fair, and like I was saying earlier, and nothing against, you know, people have marital issues, and I know that they have some depression issues and so forth, but then don't put yourself in the situation where you're gonna watch a comedian on stage who's known for roasting people. Like, it's really that simple. Like, it really is. Just don't be in the building for it. Nobody's gonna be offended if you step out while Chris Rock makes a joke. Like, that's Chris Rock is known for that. Like,
but I mean, it wasn't even long enough for you, because I mean, like, if he had launched like 7 jokes at Jada, I could understand. You know, it's like, okay, now he's being mean. He's cutting into my wife. Like, you need to stop. But it was one joke. The beat was like 3 seconds to get the joke out, and then he was moving on.
Yep.
Yeah, like, I get that Denzel and Bradley Cooper talked to him, but it should have been the Oscars should have spoken to him again at the very least. But yeah, Will was laughing at the joke, and what I think happened is that he has a sense of humor like most of us, and Jada just didn't even like it, you know. So
she didn't like it. She didn't care for it. She had to have said something that had him.
Does that change, George? I'm sorry. Like, does your photo change back? Like, that's so super cool. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I know what you're saying, Jesse, and I agree. Some of their marital problems probably fueled the situation, but it still is a comedian and doing a job that he was paid to do, and doing what, you know, we all know he's going to do. Like, if it had been George Clooney who went on stage and cracked a joke about Jada Pinkett Smith, then everybody could be up in arms, because George Clooney doesn't do that.
No, there's no point in time where this reaction is warranted. Like,
why smack him? Why not punch him in the face? Like, if you're gonna go all out, go all out. Yeah,
you might as well. You might as well have punched him and kicked him and had a fucking full on brawl right there on the Oscars. But like, it just doesn't make any sense at all. At all.
All right, guys.
Which is why I think he was probably drinking.
It's got to be something.
I mean, everybody totally is anyway. more than often at the Oscars, everybody's always getting hammered.
No,
But-
his wife got upset. That was
But she got
It's a celebration. You know, like it's a celebration. Sure, go ahead and throw a couple back. But I mean, like, just have some fucking self-control. Like, this is ridiculous.
I've seen Max laugh at handicap jokes all the time, and he's not affected by his personal life because he can separate the jokes from the reality.
If a joke is funny, it's funny, and like I mean, like, but like the joke wasn't not funny enough to warrant slapping Chris Rock in the face either. I mean, like, if the joke had just been terrible, like just a terribly bad, it's just an unfunny joke, and you're like, how dare you make that unfunny of a joke about my wife? I can even maybe understand that.
I work with the South Park philosophy. It's either all funny or none of it is. So you can't pick and choose what you make fun of, because then you're setting lines and saying, okay, it's fine to laugh about, Jews, for instance, but it's not okay to laugh about this. So I'm going to set my line right there. Like, you can laugh about Jews, but don't laugh about, white people or regular, Europeans. Don't do that.
Or it was Scientology, it was Scientology that made Chef quit, right? Like, it's exactly the same thing. Like, fuck that dude, because you can sit here and laugh about every other religion and you're totally on board with it, but then they hit yours and you're like, oh, I have a problem. Like,
all right, Max, George, let's give our final thoughts. I don't want to compete with funny sci-fi.
Oh, okay. All right. Will Smith, you need to be banned from ever receiving an award in person. They'll just be like, okay, and the winner was Will Smith, and maybe they just like set the Oscar down on the.
Yeah, they accepted on his behalf.
No, like, you shouldn't even be like, they'll just leave it on the podium. Will Smith won the Oscar.
I agree with Max. He should have used his closing speech to at least apologize to Chris Rock, like at least mention it. But he skated around it. So, George, what's your final thoughts on the situation? Because I don't ever want to talk about this again because it's stupid.
Yeah, agreed totally. And believe me, in about an hour, I got the sports side of it, and it's going to be, definitely brought up again. And it'll be brought up probably for the next couple of days. I mean,
oh yeah, it's the news cycle.
Yeah, they want to avoid you hearing about Ukraine, so now we got Chris Rock versus Will Smith. But Clint, I don't think they should take his Oscar away. I think that is ridiculous.
I mean, like, he's an actor, and I don't think he should. Like, I think he should work. Like, I'm not opposed to Will Smith being in movies, but and if y'all thought he was the best actor in this movie, great. You just can't trust Will Smith to act properly in public anymore. So you can't have him at your Oscars. Like, that's my whole thing.
And if you disagree with us, you can tell us below in the comments. Just be cordial about it, because we're not going to get offended if you.
Oh no, we're going to come and slap you in the face
if you give us a different point of view. So what we're asking for in the comments is don't get offended. Don't come lashing out at us because we had a different point of view. Speak your point of view. That's fine. Just do it casually and
lash out and get slapped. Is all I'm saying.
Whatever you do, don't show up at my house and slap me,
people in the face.
I don't want to be slapped. It's okay, And I appreciate everybody's comments, even the ones that necessarily weren't on the same page. Like I said, everybody has an opinion about this. Just remember, it was a comedian doing his job, and Will Smith overreacted, and that's, in my opinion, that's the bottom line. And we'll go from there, because I'm not talking about it anymore. We love you guys.
That's pretty much all we can.
Check out 3 Geeks Podcast on Sundays live at noon, and we will be back in a few weeks to talk about something else that's probably going to piss people off. But that's what we do here at Podcastalypse now. We talk about stuff.
Oh yeah.
Have a great evening, everybody. Bye.
Later.